What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be getting into my December 26th, or 27th, actually, Bracketology Predictions. Hopefully y'all had a great holiday season. We do have New Year's coming up, so hopefully you guys spend some good time with that. But anyway, let's get into this tournament bracketology here. Starting out with the Bracket Watch, top of our seed remains Purdue right there. Washington is the first team out, and then the last team in is Virginia Tech. On the bubble right now, Mississippi last four buys, Mississippi State have been dropping. Florida, Michigan State's jumped back in after a big win to Baylor, and then South Carolina. Last four in is going to be New Mexico, Kansas State, Texas, Virginia Tech. First four out is going to be Washington, Nebraska, Butler, and then Utah State. And then the next four out is going to be Texas Tech, Cincinnati, St. John's, and TCU. If we look at the bracket here, the movement, we got a lot here. Movement. Texas going to be dropping down there. Virginia Tech's new to the field. Oral Roberts going to be new to the field as a 16, if you remember that team going on that incredible run a couple years ago as a 15 seed. And then New Mexico dropping down to the 11. In the Midwest region, we do have Purdue as that 1 seed. Virginia going to be dropping down to an 8 seed. Oklahoma going to be dropping down to the 5. Kentucky going to be jumping up to the 4 seed. Villanova jumping up to the 6, Akron dropping down to the 14, and then Florida Atlantic jumping up to the 2 seed. In the South region, we have Houston jumping up to the 1 seed, Colorado dropping down to the 8, Nevada jumping up to the 9 seed, Auburn going to be dropping down to the 5. We have Grand Canyon dropping down to the 12. Creighton going to be dropping down to the 6. South Carolina dropping down to the 11. Wisconsin jumping up to the 3, or South Carolina jumping up, sorry. Samford going to be new to the field as a 14, and then Longwood dropping down to the 15. In the East region, we have Kansas as the 1 seed there. Utah going to be jumping up to the 8 seed. We have Colorado State jumping up to the 5, as well as Liberty jumping up to the 12. Ole Miss going to be jumping up to a 7 seed. UConn dropping down to the 2, and then Colgate dropping down to the 15. In the West region, we have Arizona as the 1 seed, Marist jumping up to the 16 seed, Providence jumping up to the 8, Iowa State going to be dropping down to the 9 seed, Baylor going to be jumping up to the 5, North Carolina jumping up to the 4 seed, UNC Wilmington new to the field as a 13, Texas A&M jumping up to the 6 seed, BYU going to be jumping up to the 3, Fort Wayne going to be jumping up to the 14, and then Gonzaga dropping down to the 17. All right, so let's get into this bracket here. Starting out with the first 4 games, we have Texas versus Virginia Tech. I am going to go with Texas in that one. Oral Roberts, I think, would beat Norfolk State. And then New Mexico versus Kansas State. I am going to go with New Mexico. I do like that Kansas State team, but they've been a little bit disappointing in a few games. But I am going to go with New Mexico there. And then Merrimack, I think, would beat Southern. Okay, so 4 spot in the round of 64. Purdue will fight off Merrimack, have a chance to lose to another first 16 seed there, but I do go with Purdue in that one. And then they will meet the 9 seed. I'm going to go with Dayton. I was originally going to go with Virginia, but they've been disappointing as of late. I was going to mention Virginia on the 2 teams that lost to the 16 seeds could have battled out, but no, I'm going to spoil that fun and go with Dayton to move on. Oklahoma, Indiana State, a 5 versus a 12 seed. Let's go with Indiana State. I'm going to go with the 12 seed upset here. Big believer in that Indiana State team. Oklahoma just got their first loss of the year. Not quite sold on that Oklahoma team. They haven't beaten a top-tier team yet. So I'm going to go with Indiana State, where they could meet Indiana, but I am going to go with Kentucky. Weird that Indiana's a 13 seed in the Big Ten. You know, if someone knows what's up with that, let me know because I'm just confused there. But we'll go with Kentucky. Villanova, I do think will hold off Michigan State in that one. Clemson, I think, would be Akron. Ohio State, Mississippi State. I am going to go with Ohio State in that one as the 7 seed, and then Florida Atlantic moves on past Morehead State. Down here, we have Arizona versus Marist. I'm going to go with Arizona. Providence, I do think, would hold off Iowa State. Baylor is going to fall to 12 seed Princeton. Baylor, another team that I've just been not a fan of coming into this tournament. Princeton's a team that I am a fan of, and I'm going to go with that Princeton team. Have a good program there out of the Ivy League in Princeton. And then North Carolina, I do think will beat UNC Wilmington. Texas A&M versus Texas, I am going to go with Texas A&M in that one. BYU, I do think, would beat Fort Wayne. Gonzaga, Florida. Gonzaga has been a frustrating team this season, but I do think I would go with Gonzaga to win that one. And then Marquette, I think, would beat Weber State. So not a whole lot of upsets aside from two 12-seed upsets. I do think Houston would beat Oral Roberts. Colorado, Nevada. I'm going to go with Colorado in that one. Auburn, Grand Canyon. I am going to go with Auburn. I'm a believer in that Grand Canyon team, but I do think Auburn would pull off that one. And then Duke, I do think, would beat UC Irvine. Creighton, South Carolina. I am going to go with Creighton. Wisconsin, I do think, would beat Samford. And then I'm going to go with the 10-7 slight upset with San Diego State or Miami beating San Diego State. And then Tennessee beating Longwood. All right, down here, Kansas Lipscomb, give me the Jayhawks. Utah, I do think, would beat Northwestern. Colorado State, I think, would hold off Liberty in that one. A lot of good 12-seed upsets here. I could see all four of these being upsets, but I am going to go with Colorado State. They're a good team to beat Liberty. Memphis, I do think, would beat McNeese State. I'm going to go with New Mexico for the first. I believe that's the only 11/6 over Alabama. Not the biggest believer in that Alabama team. New Mexico, they're a decent team, and they're coming off the first four. I could very much see them winning that one, and I'm going to go with them. Got to have at least one of those 11/6, I think. Did go with Vermont to make a Sweet 16 run as a 15 seed in our last bracketology. Not going to go this crazy, though. Do really like that Illinois team, so I'm going to go with them to beat Vermont. I'm going to go with the 10 seed James Madison to beat a good Ole Miss team. And then UConn, I think, would hold off Colgate. All right, Purdue versus Dayton. I'm going to go with Purdue as the 1 seed. Zach Edey going to be hard to stop in that. Their guards have been a lot better this year. Indiana State, Kentucky. I am going to go with Kentucky. I'm going to go with Clemson to beat Villanova, and then Florida Atlantic to beat Ohio State. So all chalk in the round of 32 in that region. We do have Arizona beating Providence. North Carolina, I think, would hold off Princeton. BYU, I think, would beat Texas A&M, and then Marquette would beat Gonzaga. I'm just not seeing any upset opportunities here. I'm going to go with what I think would happen. Unfortunately, give me those to win those ones. Houston versus Colorado. I'm going to go with the Cougars of Houston. Auburn, Duke. Give me the 4 seed Duke. And I'm going to finally go with our first upset. Give me Creighton. I know this team has been iffy this year, but I'm still a believer in what that team brings come tournament time. We saw it last year as a 6 seed. That's a really good Creighton team. Really freaking good team. So I'm going to go with Creighton to win. And then I'm going to go with the 10/2 Miami upset. I did it last time. I gave Vermont a win over Tennessee. I'm just not a believer in Tennessee. I'm just going to be straight up with a lot of you guys. Wasn't a believer last year, and things haven't changed this year. Miami always has good tournament runs. They have for the past 4-ish years, made it to the Final Four even last year, an Elite Eight as I believe it was a 10 seed a couple years ago. So this Miami team is really good in the tournament. They're very experienced in that. Give me them to win. So we're going to have a Creighton-Miami matchup. First, finally, we get some upsets coming in this round of 32. All right, but then Kansas versus Utah. We'll go with the Jayhawks to beat Utah. Colorado State, Memphis, 5-4. I am going to go with Memphis. So all 4 seeds going to move on to the Sweet 16 here. Illinois, I do think, would beat New Mexico, and then UConn will beat James Madison. So 3 of the 4 regions are all chalk. That's how I see this bracket shaping up at this point in time. All right, for a spot in the Elite Eight, we do have Kentucky beating Purdue. I'm going to go with the Wildcats to pull off the win. I know Purdue's a really freaking good team. They are very much a contender. Don't sleep on Purdue, but Kentucky's also a very good team, and I like them in that matchup. Clemson versus Florida Atlantic. Not a believer in that Clemson team, so give me Florida Atlantic to win it. Down here, Arizona, North Carolina. I am going to go with the Wildcats to beat the Tar Heels. And then I'm going to go with BYU, the 3-seed Cougars, pulling off the win over Marquette. Call it bias, but I'm a believer in this BYU team. We played really freaking good all season long. I know we haven't played the best teams, but we have played Utah this season. I know we lost to them, and we played San Diego State. Big 12 play is going to really show what BYU's made out of at this point. But Marquette's also lost to some of these good teams. So I do think BYU, if they meet Marquette in the tournament, I could very much see them winning it. And then up here, Houston, Duke. 1 seed versus a 4 seed. Give me Houston to win that. Then the 6 versus 10, Creighton, Miami. I am going to go with Creighton to move on to meet Houston. All right, Kansas, Memphis, 1 versus 4 seed. Give me Memphis, the 4 seed, to move on. The second 4 seed to move on to the Elite Eight. Big believer in this Memphis team. If you've watched my channel these past videos, I know the Jayhawks are obviously really talented, but I think they could lose in a matchup like this. So give me Memphis. And then I'm going to go with the 3 seed, actually, Illinois to beat UConn, the defending champions. Fall. It's very rare for a defending champ to win back-to-back years, so I'm going to bet on that. Give me Illinois to pull off the win. All right. Next, we have 4 seed Kentucky, 2 seed Florida Atlantic. I am going to go with Kentucky. Florida Atlantic's not going to get a back-to-back Final Four appearance in this one. Give me the Wildcats to win. Arizona, BYU, and we're going to have a Wildcat matchup. Give me Arizona. Just at this point, can't trust my Cougars to be that good of a team in the tournament. Give me Arizona. Houston, Creighton. I'm going to go with the 1 seed Houston there. So those 2 1 seeds prevail. And then Memphis versus Illinois. Really good matchup. I think I am going to go with this is tough, guys. I'm going to go with Memphis. Honestly, I'm going to go with Memphis. I'm a bigger believer in that team. So give me Memphis to move on to the Final Four. All right, Kentucky, Arizona for a spot in the national championship. Give me Arizona, though. I do like the Wildcats in that one. And then Houston, Memphis, a battle of 2 AAC teams. Or Houston, who used to be an AAC team. Give me Houston, though. So the top 1 seeds do move on in the Final Four. We did have 2 1 seeds and 2 4 seeds. But for a spot for the championship, Arizona, Houston, at this point, I'm a believer in this Houston team. Give me them to win the championship. They're playing really good basketball. I really like how they're coached. They're just as good as they were last year. Really freaking good defensive team. So I'm going to go with Houston to win this one. All right, guys. Thank you all for watching this video today. Hopefully, y'all enjoyed the content. Comment down below your predictions. Anyway, guys, peace out.